You're listening to the LouddMouth Radio Network. For many of us who have been truth seekers and have actively been working on mindsets, your thought processes, maybe you just want to have a better attitude toward things. So you've heard your attitude determines the altitude, or is your attitude more than your aptitude that would determine your altitude? Just various things. At the end of the day, they're all prepared or stated to give a more uplifting thought process toward the way you project your attitude to the world. And typically, if you're in a good space of processing your thoughts in a higher frequency of thought, typically your attitude is better. And all of that's true. One of the things that I've come to think about is sometimes you need to really develop an attitude that is preparing you for what it is you desire. Because ultimately what they're saying is that if your attitude is in a higher place, it could bring about the things or attract the things that you desire. But I think there's something else that could be added to that I think is just as important to go along with that statement or that thought process. That it's important for you to develop an attitude of expectation. And in developing the attitude of expectation, it takes on a whole nother level beyond just, being upbeat and being positive. But you're actually taking that attitude and guiding it or directing it towards whatever it is that you have in your sights or in your desire or in your mind to go for. And it could be anything. It could be weight loss. It could be a new job. It could be moving to a new state. It could be, it could be a variation of things. But at the end of the day, it's essential to recognize how important it is to have a good attitude, but to also expect what it is that you desire. Let's go, y'all. You know what time it is. It's Sonny's Monday Motivation. Let's go.
Greetings. My name is LouddMouth Espinoza, founder of Anthonie's Voice, an organization named after my grandson, Anthonie Brown. Anthony was diagnosed with autism at the early age of 3 years old. He is currently 21 years of age and is still considered nonverbal. Our journey has been one of many challenges as well as unimagined rewards. This year, for Autism Awareness Day, April 2nd, we're proud to announce our community partnership of Anthonie's Voice and LouddMouthRadio.com. This month, Anthonie's Voice will have a 4-part series each Thursday of the month. Radio segments that will bring two communities together to discuss autism, share resources, highlight individuals on the spectrum, fundraisers, and so much more.
You're listening to the LouddMouth Radio Network. You Need Tent 2, located at 3118 Emory Street Northwest in Unit B in Covington, Georgia, is dedicated to delivering high-quality tent workmanship and excellent customer service. You Need Tent 2 has a variety of tent shade options and films ready to be installed with a lifetime manufacturer's warranty. So stop by today. You Need Tent 2 is the go-to destination for professional window and tenting services. Don't forget to visit us online at youneedtent2.com. And don't forget to tell them that LouddMouth Radio sent you. No matter the time or the season, we're open and available 24/7. Shouldn't your dealership be too? Carumba.com, the convenient online used vehicle marketplace. Register your independent dealership now. All right, guys, you know what? I don't think today's a better day to discuss attitude, because Monday is that first day that a lot of people are tested and challenged, man. And sometimes you're struggling to get your day going and getting started, or just getting up and preparing for the day. And a lot of that time period starts from the very beginning, in which you start to create and format the thought process of how you're going to feel for that day, and how you're going to take how you're going to take realm of your hours in the course of a day. You may not be thinking so much about the whole week. Hopefully you're not, because it's important that you try to be as present as you can. But Monday can be very, very challenging for many people, because there's a big consumption of people in the world that are not necessarily where they want to be, and they're not necessarily aligned with where they want to be. And sometimes, you're doing the things necessary that you need to do, and that's okay. I'm not frowning on that. But I am recognizing that sometimes in the course of that time period, in between the gap of where you want to be and where you are, your attitude can get rocked. It can be challenged. It could be tested. It could be, sometimes you're not even attentive that your attitude could be a little crooked. And it's easy because a lot of times we're consumed with whatever we need to do, especially if you're working a job, or, have some type of employment that requires you to maybe do something or participate in something that, you're doing it to make sure it's paying the bills and it's getting you where you need to be, but it may not be the ultimate aspect of what you desire. So let's just be real. That's a great amount of people across the world that are in that place. And it could be something as simple as being a parent or a spouse or a business partner or a boss or employee. It doesn't matter. There's no level of restriction. But I think it is important that, while you're doing it, while you're there, between the gap or whatever that looks like, just develop the attitude of expectation and create that framework on a day-to-day basis that helps you to get closer to what it is that you desire. Truly, expectations is something that's generated from a self-centered position. And sometimes we might put expectations on other people. Now, I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about self. So I want to share a few things about that statement and about the whole aspect of that thought of how you could really make things better for yourself by putting in a little work and, really taking the time to recognize that, that may be your situation. And it could be you might even have your own business. And maybe the business is not quite where it is. Because trust me, even as an entrepreneur, business owner, a CEO, however you're graphed in that format, you can experience burnout. Maybe you started your business in one direction and it started off and you got going and you might even be profitable. You maybe even, have a swarm of clients, but you might not be happy within it. Or maybe it's going a direction that is not necessarily with the perspective of how you wanted it to be. And then you find yourself feeling like, I want to change this. But maybe you don't know how to change it, so to speak. Or maybe you have not quite figured out that that's what you're feeling. But you sense something that is giving you a level of disconnect or discontent. So, guys, let's talk about how just a few things could really make a difference in regards to taking that pathway of developing an attitude of expectation. Number one, you need to determine what it is that you're setting your sights on. And that's some kind of goal. Maybe it's a level or maybe it might be something physical. It may be something internally within yourself that you want to level up to. It could be a number of things, but I think it's important to know what that is, right? And it may not be necessarily an end goal because it may be one level of achievement, or maybe it's a long-term or a short-term goal. And then from there, you may shift gears into another dimension. But for the main part, let's just kind of stay at a surface in which you can just obtain that first aspect that you can, hold on to and say that I know for sure this is what I want, right? And that clarity is so important. One of the things that I can suggest you do, journal it. If you have a phone that you have your phone more than a book and you don't really like to write, use your voice memo on your device or your notepad on your phone. Jot it down. Put it in maybe even email it to yourself. A lot of times I email myself a lot of notes or things of that nature that I want to be able to get to easily and accessibly, right? So document what it is. Put it out in full form and very clear form so you understand what you want. Secondly, prepare that information for yourself for a time period. and maybe stretch it. Don't necessarily narrow it down to a certain amount of time that could limit you, but give yourself enough time to make it achievable. And within that, once you have done that first step of preparing and really creating what you know that you want, then it will open up opportunities for you to shape it even more. So it could be to a detail of color, it could be a shape, it could be a size, it could be a time period. Maybe it's an experience, maybe it's something you want to experience. So I'm not here to guide you to the direction of what that thing is, but take note of that. The next thing I want you to also remember, be mindful of is, how you talk about it. Whether you're expressing it to someone or not, because sometimes you don't necessarily want to confide in people and share with them everything that you may have going on. But you maybe have a good friend or a family member or a sibling or a spouse. But maybe you're not there to share it yet. Maybe you want to, develop it more, and that's okay too. But make sure that at any time, whether it's a thought or a conscious verbalized statement, that you always keep it in a positive, present realm. In other words, don't find yourself saying, well, when I get to it, or when I have it, speak it in the sense of having it, right? And experiencing it as best you can in your present. And only you know what that looks like as far as whatever that input is. But definitely speak it towards more of an existence. And that you're already experiencing what that thing would be and how it would make you feel having it. So that positive conversation or thought processes or your self-talk about it needs to definitely stay in a positive realm. The next thing I want you to also consider is to give yourself some time and grace in regards to it. I know I talked about grace the other day in regards to judgment of others, but I think it's equally important that you give yourself grace, you give yourself time, and you give yourself an opportunity to recognize that you are creating, right? And you're also manifesting, and you're also developing, and you're creating a framework of the full aspect of what the expectation of that thing is going to be for you. So make sure you also be kind of kind to yourself, So in other words, like if your money's not where it needs to be, don't beat yourself up because the finances are not there. If you're not already in the area where you might want to live in another state or another country, appreciate where you are right now. Right? Give gratitude to where you are right now. If it's a car that you desire, maybe, and you may have a car, you may not have a car at all. But if you do, so this is very important. You may already have something that is close to what it is that you want in shape or form, but it may not be the ultimate thing. So if you have an existing thing of whatever that is, say for instance, maybe you have a smaller home or you have a car that you paid cash for or is an older model vehicle. Give gratitude to it, right? Give appreciation to what it is you have currently. Even if it's just a thought, have gratitude and grace and appreciation for the thought process that is already within you. And I promise you, it gravitates you towards another level of appreciation, right? The other thing I want you, which is it kind of intertwined about the appreciation space, I want you to also remember that whatever it is that you want, speak with conviction about it or write with conviction. Give full confidence that your desire is coming forth. So that's that attitude of expectation going into action because you're confident that you're one, worthy of it, two, that you can achieve it, three, that you will achieve it. So that helps to give that attitude of expectation fire. It gives it form, it gives it life, it gives it thought, it gives it substance, right? So in order for you to get closer in so many forms, in the mind, in the physical, in the emotional aspect of it, because think about it, most things that you're desiring, when you think about it, it makes you feel excited. You might feel a rush. You might feel invigorated. You may feel like you can't sleep. And that's all part of the active process of developing an attitude of expectation. Because guess what? If I said to you, I'm going to come on Friday and pick you up, and I just want you to pack a bag for 2 days, make sure you got the things necessary that you will want to have in a tropical environment, your anticipation and excitement. And I'm not going to tell you where we're going. You just need to have your ID, your identification, and whatever you're going to need to keep you going for those days. Your level of excitement is going to be to the roof. You're going to be probably thinking all kinds of different places of possibilities. But most importantly, you might start to feel the sun on your face. You may feel the ocean breeze, and you'll feel the sand on your feet, and you can hear the birds flying overhead, and just start to already magnetize the emotions that trip is going to give you, even though you don't know where you're going, other than what I've told you. So with that, in that whole aspect, just the idea that you could take, whatever it is that you desire and give it that kind of strength is going to also help you to recognize that you're capable of receiving it. And I believe that a big part of that, because a lot of times what we'll do is we'll desire something. We may even pray about it. We may even just talk about we want it. But then what do we do after that? You've already established it. You've already, made mention that it's something that you desire. But what more can you do? This is that mind frame structural area that helps to give more essence to the thought process of it. And it just starts to turn. It almost makes you feel like your brain is making a turn, and you're making a turn towards it. And it's just an amazing experience to know that you're already in high gratitude and expectation and appreciation for what it is that you desire. So I just want to tell you guys that for all essences, the high level importance about your attitude is one of those things that I can tell you that no matter what, that's something that you have ultimate control over. And it's so important that you remember that and you apply it into whatever you're doing, whether it's dealing with other people, if it's dealing with yourself, if it's dealing with, a client or any type of levels of variation of relationships. Is extremely important. And it could be a game changer for how you get there. Because I promise you, sometimes what you think that you may need to do, may not be the only way it comes, because that's the wonderful thing about how the universe could take your energy, your drive, and the things that you're working towards. And next thing you know, people and things will start showing up and aligning what it is that you're desiring. So that's why that fire of the attitude of expectation is like the magnetism. It becomes the part that you can't physically see, and you might not be able to touch it, but you definitely can ignite it and get it started. So guys, guess what? I'm already done today. Like, I just wanted to hit it and quit it and give it to you real good, and just give you something to start your Monday off with. And I hope that you had a great weekend from Cinco de Mayo, from Friday. If you went out and had some drinks and now you sobered up, and if you didn't, that's okay too, because this is our first full week starting out in the month of May. And it's a great time period to align your manifestations. So I just wanted to set you off and get you started, because May is a great month to spring it forward into to the level of realms of your manifestations and your desires. So you guys go be great, and we'll talk next time. Later. You're listening to the LouddMouth Radio Network. This episode is sponsored by LouddMouth.com, the #1 small business online network. We're putting the word out about small business. Put your business on the referral network online that wants to put the word out about you. 30.7 million small businesses in the U.S., creating 1.5 million jobs annually. Small business accounts for 64% of new job creation in the U.S. There's strength in numbers. No matter what we face, know that there's strength in us. Because of you, we're able, we're capable, we're resilient, and we are available because we are small business. And together, we're the economy. You're listening to the LouddMouth Radio Network.